Hey YouTube, Kevin Cleary with a knife video. Today I want to talk about a blade that is new for 2015 from Kershaw. This is the Kershaw Link. And they call this the Link because they say it's a link between budget-friendly folders, of which there are many, and US manufacturing, of which there are still many, but generally the price point on a US manufactured knife is going to be a little bit higher. Okay, not so with this. This guy comes in at 40 bucks. I've found it anywhere from 45 to high 30s. I paid $38 and change. Let's say $38.50. That's not exactly right, but it was 38 and something. Okay, so that's a pretty good deal for a US made knife that's of the level of quality and usefulness that this one is. All right, there is an FRN version of this that's even cheaper still, but I don't know, maybe it's $5 cheaper. To me, that wasn't worth it. I think $32, $33 for the FRN version versus $38 for the aluminum. So to me, that was kind of a no-brainer. I'd step up to the aluminum for sure. Now, what I want to talk about with this knife is, I think in terms of price, it's an achievement, okay? But there are some things about it where I'm almost like, I would have paid $5 more if you could have just done some things a little bit differently. All right, now, I'm going to try to be as fair as I can because you guys know this knife is too small for me. All right, 7 5/8 inches is a little smaller than what I like to carry. I would kind of consider this a secondary blade, but the problem with it as a secondary blade is just a little heavy for that. If you're going to carry two blades, I'd like my secondary blade to be around 3 ounces, okay? So this one's around 5 ounces. Now, I give you all of that to say this. I think if you're looking at this knife and you're seriously considering it, you probably want to consider the knockout, okay? Yes, it's more money, between $25 and $30 more. However, I think what you're getting for that extra $25 or $30 is well worth it. I'm going to speak to that at the end of the video. So hang on and I'll do a little comparison. It'll be a brief one. It won't be a full comparison, but I will make some comments about how these knives compare to one another and why I think if you're looking at this one, you should at least consider, you know, save up your pennies for an extra week or two and pick up this one. Now, size and weight on this, I think I already mentioned 7 5/8 inches, 3 1/4 inch blade, 4 5/8 inch handle, and 4.7 ounces. Okay, so that's a little heavy for its size, but the size is, you know, a very popular one. A lot of people who carry an EDC blade like it to be around 7.5 inches, and so this is going to fit that bill very nicely. Let's zoom in and I'll give you some of the specifics and let you have a closer look at this knife. Whoops. Wouldn't it have been great if I captured myself falling off my chair. There we go. So, blade on this, as I said, 3 1/4 inches. It is a high flat grind, and for all intents and purposes, it's going to perform like a full flat grind. There is this top swedge. It's not a super thick piece of steel to begin with, so you got nice thin edge geometry. It's going to slice really, really well, especially with all that belly. The tip is fairly fine, so you're going to have to pay a little bit of attention. Be careful that you don't break this off doing anything silly, but you know, lots and lots of knives have a very thin tip, and that's pretty typical. So we're used to being a little bit careful about that. If you carry a knife, don't carry it as a pry tool. Just carry another tool as a pry tool. There's lots of really great little pry tools out there that'll do a better job than a knife and won't break as easily. Okay, 420HC steel is definitely sort of a budget steel. If you're going to use your knife like really hardcore every single day and you're going to be cutting a million things with it, you might want to consider an upgrade to a steel that's going to hold an edge a little bit longer. However, this is certainly going to sharpen up nice and easily for you, and it's going to be acceptable for most people. Especially, you know, I would compare it to HCR 13 MOV, so if you've got some blades that are in that steel and you find it works fine for you, I don't think you're going to have any issue with this. Okay, now what about lockup and deployment? It is a liner lock. You can see those liners there. They are not skeletonized or milled out or anything like that in any way. That's one of the things I'd like to see them do to cut the weight a little bit. Or better yet, I know we're not talking about the handle yet, but I'm going to make this comment anyway, get rid of them altogether and just make this an aluminum handled knife. Now, I know there are more processes involved, and that makes a bit of an issue for keeping the price point down as low as they want it to be. Okay, so it's a liner lock, totally functional liner lock. One of the things I've got to say about this is at this price point, you do sometimes see some less than stellar quality control. I have not heard a single complaint about blade play in any direction, and certainly this is very solid. One of the more solid knives that I have, especially at this price point. Okay, it is very fast deploying with the Kershaw Speed Safe. I think you're probably, you're used to me talking about this. Speed Safe is really cool because of the fact that, the top portion, so if I release the lock, as I start pulling down, there's no, see how the blade stays put, there's no spring tension through all of this range of motion. It's not until you get here that now you're fighting the spring. That makes it much easier to operate one-handed, which I think is a real win. And I've said before, I'll say again, I think Kershaw Speed Safe is about my favorite assisted opening design. All right, it is a flipper only, no thumb studs or any other means of deployment other than the flipper. And the flipper's a little harsh, okay? It's not the end of the world. It's just not a super comfortable flipper. It's just a little sharp on that jimping, but it does function just fine. Okay, so what about the handle? The handle is aluminum scales, very smooth. So if you're looking for a lot of traction, you might want to look at the FRN or look at a totally different knife, because even the FRN is not super grippy, but probably a little grippier than this. It's a little small for me. This is one of the reasons I like 8-inch knives, because I want to have a good full grip, and this one just really makes me crowd my fingers in to get them all on, okay? Otherwise, it's very comfortable, and I can tell you that I did some cutting where I just got some hardwood and really bared down, and cut into it. Of course, I use hardwood because it's really hard to cut, of course, and I did not find any discomfort or any hot spots or anything like that. So even though I say the handle's a little too small for me, it actually, in function, it was totally fine. So it's not a major complaint. Pocket clip is fine. It is single position pocket clip. I kind of wish it was deep carry, but no major issue there. And the lanyard hole is a very Hinderer inspired lanyard hole. You can see that with the sort of elongated shape there. Overall, again, great knife. No major complaint about this knife, but nothing that gets me really excited either. Now, I do want to very briefly offer a little comparison, because this is a knife I love, and this is a knife I just like. Okay, so what's the difference? Well, obviously about $25, $30 is the difference. Big difference in weight. This knife is like 3.5 ounces. This knife is almost 5. Now, notice that this knife is bigger. This is almost 8 inches. This is, just over 7.5 inches. And so you've got a lot lighter knife, a lot thinner knife. So this carries much better, and it feels more comfortable in hand when you do get it out. This is larger in terms of comfort and handle real estate, but it's actually smaller when you compare the two in pocket. This is quite a thick, heavy knife. This is very thin and very light. And so one of the things that you get as an improvement with the Knockout over the Link is that you get a knife that's easier to carry, okay? Now, the blade length is a little shorter on the Knockout, which is kind of, certainly that could be better. And I think you could redesign this very slightly and get a lot more blade to do a better blade to handle ratio, okay? Both of them are aluminum handles. This is just aluminum, which again I think it makes it a little bit superior. One other thing is the blade. The blade steel on this is 14C28N, which is not like a high-end, super expensive blade steel, but it's very good. I would compare it to VG10, 154CM. Certainly it's a big step up over HCR13 or AUS8 or certainly 420HC. So another thing that you get for your extra $25 or $30 is a very good blade steel. Edge geometry and cutting performance on these are going to be very close. Now, one last thing, and that is you do have the repositionable pocket clip. So if you're a lefty, or if you always want to carry tip down, That's not an option at all on the Link, but it is on the Knockout. Now for me, I only carry right side tip up, so it makes no difference, okay? Now, do I think that the Knockout is worth the extra $25 to $30? Absolutely I do. And so if you're looking at a Link, there's nothing wrong with the Link, okay? Certainly it's a great knife, especially for the price point of like 38 bucks is what I got this one for. Now, good knife, great knife. That's all I'm saying, okay? Overall, I don't think anyone is going to have reason to complain if they picked up a Link. I think it's going to perform very well for you. I think this, you know, if you're just looking for one budget-friendly folding knife that you can carry and use all the time, look no further. You're not going to get, there's nothing to complain about. There's no major issue that I say makes this a bad knife. Certainly the price point is good. The materials are good. The performance is good. The blade shape is good. Even the handle is very comfortable, even though it's just a little small for me. And the pocket clip is just a little big for the knife, I feel. It could be, I would much prefer to see this pocket clip on this knife. All right. So overall, great knife. Oh, I didn't mention the FRN backspacer, but it is an FRN backspacer. I think everything else I've touched on. So yeah, great knife. No major complaint. Oh wait, look at that. I have to eat my words right here on camera. It is drilled for left side carry, and I think a minute ago I said you can't carry this if you're a lefty. Forget all that. Totally left side carryable. Apologize for that. I don't know. I looked at this knife. I've been looking at it for some time and carrying it for some time, and I totally missed those holes. But look, there they are. So lefties rejoice. It is reversible to left side tip up carry or right side tip up carry. So there you go. Overall, good knife. No major complaints about it. I probably will be, you know, doing something with this. Maybe I'll pass it on through a sale or trade or whatever. But there you go. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll talk to you soon.